Welcome to Words with a Mad Coach. I am Coach Cess, and happy Cinco de Mayo on this Friday morning. Let's talk WarFare 15. It's going down Saturday night in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina at the House of Blues. This is a card that you don't want to miss, a live card. When you have on the local level talents that could be on any major promotion, it's a card you want to be on, or a card you want to participate. So I believe we have 2 women fights on the card, and they're going to set the standard to force the guys to have to raise their levels. All the fights have veteran fighters, Damon Blackshear, Charleston Poole, Alexander Banks, Marvin Skipper, Derek Kennington. We're talking a lot of guys who've traveled, who've done what it takes to make their reputations stable and solidified to be on a show like this. Blake Grice is going to be the referee, UFC referee, Bellator referee, international referee. Should be 1 or 2 title fights. I'm not quite sure. I believe that those might be amateur title fights. Alexander Banks taking on Jordan Weeks. I believe that's a title fight at the 170 level. Banks has been the Fight Lab 170 champ, and excuse me, and he should be there to impress. That should be a fantastic fight. Make sure you're in the house. Get your ticket. Get your seat. At this point, I'm not even sure if the event sold out or not. You want to go to the WarFare Facebook page, inquire, check it out. Also inquire about lodging. Most events like this usually, especially when they're this big, usually have some type of discounted rate, and we are talking Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Probably one of their busiest moments of the year in May. So make sure you call them, get that checked out. There is one fight being pulled, Davis versus Jones. So according to mixedmartialarts.com, Davis has suffered from kidney failure, and you can go check it out. Let's keep him in our prayers. We want to make sure that all the fighters get out to perform, but we also want to make sure they get out safe. This is a serious sport. All combat sports are, in terms of preparation. And if you're going to do it, make sure you do it under the supervision of a qualified trainer or medical person.
There is nothing as powerful as a changed mind. You can change your hair, your clothing, your address, your spouse, your residence. But if you don't change your mind, the same experience will perpetuate itself over and over again, because everything outwardly changed, but nothing inwardly changed.
Sometimes an event bears greater significance than the mere presence of its participants.
In the ring with the great Julio Cesar Chavez. Scores with a right on that eye. Keeping Chavez at a distance. The La Jolla scores at this point. Now blood from the nose. And yet the referee signals the end move.
WBC Super Lightweight Champion of the World!
Saul Alvarez is the son of an ice cream vendor. who has earned the reputation of a meticulous and disciplined winning machine. He is currently the #1 rated boxer in the world. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was born with the moniker of a living legend.
¿Qué iba a hacer yo si ya mi papá pues nunca iba a perder porque sabía que era casi imposible ser mejor que mi papá?
This son has come to realize the full burden his name carries. He is a former champion, but his current role is that of a challenger. When circumstances accumulate over generations, across borders, and with time, the stakes are raised with each added element as the pages of history are turned back. In a nation churning with a passion that denotes a warrior's heritage, the winner of this contest gains ownership of perhaps the most coveted title a Mexican fighter can have: a champion of the people.
Canelo Alvarez versus Julio Chavez Jr. This should be a fantastic matchup. Let's talk a little history of boxing matches on Cinco de Mayo, or the weekend leading into Cinco de Mayo, or just before it. Not all of the fights have featured Mexican versus Mexican fighters. There have been some good fights without it. Pacquiao versus Mosley, I believe that was around 2011. Mayweather and Miguel Cotto. Mayweather and Mosley. Let's see. Pacquiao and Ricky Hatton. So Pacquiao's Filipino and Hatton's from England. So you don't always have to have the, Mexican versus Mexican matchup to make a great fight. I think it's really about just having a great matchup, and I think you're gonna get that in this fight coming up with Alvarez and Chavez. So let's look at the tail of the tape. So you can see Alvarez is 48-1. That one being Floyd Mayweather, and Chavez 50-2, and I believe the one loss was against Sergio Martinez, who is a favorite of mine, and then the other is I forget who the other fight was, who the other loss was to, but I do believe he was stopped, and that's significant in this fight in the sense that Canelo has not been stopped, and Chavez, who's kind of earned that reputation not to be as tough as his dad, and a lot of people could say he quits in the fight, quits on the stool. It's just one of those things. I personally believe that Canelo is going to win the fight, not because he's the better knockout puncher. I do believe that they have relative knockout skills or abilities or results. Grab my notes here. So Canelo has 32 knockouts, Canelo has 34 knockouts and Chavez has 32. So that's not that big of a difference. And the thing that might seem a little compelling in the fight is the height, the size difference is, Canelo's only 5'9" and Chavez is 6'1". And I did a little digging, and Canelo hasn't fought anybody who's 6'1", at least in the last 5, what's this, 2017? So going back to 2010 and 11, so 6 or 7 years, he hasn't fought anybody who's been that big. And he hasn't knocked out anybody that big, and he's got 2 or 3 knockouts in his last 4 or 5 fights. Chavez basically has none. So again, Canelo hasn't fought anybody that big in the last 6-7 years, and Chavez, well, he's the one at home in my opinion. So you still have some compelling elements to this fight. Chavez could win, so we're not going to exclude him. We're not going to say that he doesn't have a chance, but what makes me lean toward Canelo is just one of those things you see in combat sports when guys take too much time off. So when Chavez started, he had 30 fights in 3 years, and since that time he's averaged about 3 fights per year going back to 2012. So, or excuse me, 2012, 2013 time frame. He's only averaged about 3 fights a year, and in 2014 and 13 he only had 1 fight. And this will be his 4th fight in the last 2 years. And Canelo's been relatively active. So it's still going to be a great fight to watch. It's a celebration of Mexican-American heritage. So if you are not at the House of Blues in South Carolina with us, and you can watch this on pay-per-view. We'll probably be watching it in the dressing room anyway. That's just how we do. So, you tell me who you like. I like Canelo.
Boxing's biggest star, the son of a legend.
Chavez has it stands. Down goes Martinez. Huge right hand by Canelo. Knocked down full.
On Saturday, May 6th, the world will be watching to see who becomes Mexico's undisputed boxing king. Canelo versus Chavez Jr., Saturday, May 6th, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, live on pay-per-view.
Okay, independent amateur fighters. I'm going to give you 5 tips that you can use to improve your chances of winning. So let's be real about it. You go to these fights and there's an independent guy. He has no background. He has no corner. Really, he has no business being in the fight. However, these guys sign up every local amateur show. There's always at least one guy on the event who is a independent, and what usually happens is somebody from either the promotion or one of the teams in the dressing rooms has to help this guy out. So I'm going to help you out in advance. Number 1, join a successful gym, a successful team, fight team. Okay? A well-established team. Let's put it that way. They don't have to be champions or the biggest team or well-known, but just a team that has regular practice throughout the week. A well-established team that has a well-established program. If you're not going to join a gym or a team, then 2, do what successful teams do. Learn to copy and model success. Find out what it is that they're doing. How many days a week are they training? How many times are they training? What time of day do they train? You have to be able to fit this into your schedule. You don't find time, you make time. Number 3, you need to improve daily, which means you need to have a system of measurement to measure your performance. If you don't know how to do that, go back to number 1, join a successful gym. You need to have someone who can keep an eye on you. You need to have some method of knowing whether or not you're improving. Number 4, work your isolations. The advantage of working in a major gym is you train with guys who give you different looks, different skills, different attributes. If you are not going to do that, then you need to work your individual talents, your individual isolations, work your boxing, work your Muay Thai, your Jiu-Jitsu, and your wrestling, and utilize the other principle of improvement. Find a way to measure to see if you're getting better. And then number 5, learn your working strategies. Some people work well in groups, some work well by themselves, and some work well by association, by having access to a group. So those are my 5 tips. Try to learn a little bit more about yourself to be successful as an independent. I'm Coach Sess, and I'm out.